Got some thoughts though, Chris. Unreleased.
Yeah.
We know we're working. We know SIEM searches
Unreleased.
are a pain. Do you want to introduce this because this is your baby?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is something we've been noodling on for a while. We haven't really started this yet, but it kind of fit with the theme. We wanted to talk about it. We're always trying to give you some behind the scenes. So that's what this segment is really all about. Unreleased is like the stuff that's not out yet. What's cooking? Um, so SIM is super cool. We've got this syntax ESQL where you can search for different things, and it's really powerful. You can add a bunch of conditionals, show me logs that have this thing but not that thing, or where this field has one of these three values, and then you can specify which fields you want to see in the output so that you can quickly get to the information you need, right? Very cool. But for somebody who's not in that every day, it can be very daunting to then figure out what is it that I need to do to get the data I need to see, right? They can generally tell you, I need to see this, but I don't know how to write an ESQL query for that. What we are going to try and what we'll see, and I've played around with it a little bit, is actually using AI for this. So if you jump to the next slide, I got some examples here of, instead of having to figure out the ESQL, could you just say like, hey, what host has Bob logged into in the last month? And can the AI then just generate that and say, oh, I know you gave me Bob's email. I need to use the field user.email. I need to compare it to Bob's email address. Maybe I want to add this in or remove that event, right? How do we take that natural language question and turn it into the query, right? And so that's something that we are thinking about, we think is going to be interesting, right? But I pose this as a question of, is AI to the rescue? And when you think about this, then that brings up many other questions. If you go to the next slide, I detailed some of these here.
So, Chris, I'm super curious of like, obviously, some folks even asking the experience, right? This is a good
Yeah.
example to me of where I think AI is appropriate, right? Hey, help me or augment me and what I want to do. And even if I know how to go and read, my own insert QL, whatever query that you're going to actually do, um, do I really want to remember it though? I've got 10,000 things to do. I've got all kinds of
Yeah,
other
no, you
products.
probably
I
don't.
generally think, even though I can, I don't think I want to at this stage. I don't know if it's just gray hair kicking in or if it's just there's so much other stuff for me to do. Like if I live in it, yeah, I love to flex. Got it. Right. But on your
Yeah.
end, what have your results been so far? We've seen, at least some of the chatbot type stuff. I know you've tinkered with this a lot. You're tinkering
Yeah.
with even some of the MCP stuff. Are we talking about that in this one? I don't remember.
Yeah, we'll get to it. If you want to jump to the next slide, oh, where'd that slide go?
Oh,
There's
did
supposed to
I?
be another
I might
slide.
have got you out of order. So give me 1 second and see if you might be able to blame me when I was moving. This one?
Oh yeah, maybe the slides got moved around. Yeah, yeah. So, I like as I was thinking through this, okay, what would this look like? How would it work? Right? Some of the things that I came up with were like, well, what happens if I don't know ESQL? I ask AI and it generates a query that's then invalid. Now what? Right? Like as an end user, my user experience is now not great because I didn't know, AI doesn't know. We're both now confused. We don't know what to do, where to go from there. I also thought about like, well, what happens if it's a valid query, but I don't see any of the data? I see nothing. Or maybe I only see some of the data. Am I even going to realize or know enough to know why I'm not seeing all the data? Is the query wrong? How else should I be changing it, right? Like all of these things are things that we are going to have to consider and think through and see, can we fix this? Are there ways around this? Can we at least identify when this has happened? And then the last one is like, how much is this going to cost, right? If you look at a lot of the other vendors, they have some sort of AI assistant, AI co-pilot, but they all charge for it because guess what? It is not free to do. It can start racking up the bill pretty quickly. If people are using it a lot and you're querying the LLM often, the costs start to add up.
I know Chris, this is comparing apples and oranges, but you and I were looking at some of the some of Google's new ability to like generate video and some of this. And I mean, we saw some people single queries were costing multiple dollars depending what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
I don't think that's quite a fair comparison to something like Claude or Gemini. It's not going to be that much, but it's an interesting thing of where folks have said, I would like these. But now what if it means it's like substantial? Because you could imagine on our end, it's a pass-through cost, right? Are we going to write our own LLM for some of this stuff? Maybe in some cases where it's really tailored. But a lot of folks, especially when you just tie into some of these best standards that are truly getting kept up to date, you're usually paying somebody, whether it's OpenAI or Google or
Right.
whoever's behind the scenes, obviously Anthropic with Claude.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. Do you want me to hit that poll? I know you
Yeah,
had that.
let's do a poll. I was just curious for people. Do you use AI in your job? Like, is that a thing? We got a couple of options here for you. Yeah, I do it often.
You know what's funny,
Or
Chris? I showed you a lot of mine
rarely.
while people actually vote on what they're doing or what they're using. I played with Copilot quite a bit, at least the Microsoft
Yeah.
side of the house.
Yeah.
I still find myself going back to like phone chat GPT, and that's because the things that I'm asking, like, they're silly. But like even right before when we got on this webinar, I just said, "Yo, I've asked my audience like, topics about weather and upcoming vacations in the past. Give me some ideas for some witty banter that we could use to kick this off in a casual way." Right? That's a good example of giving me a nice augmentation. I'm not looking for a direct result, but I'm looking for it. And some of the ideas, it was really terrible, but the combinations of like one was, or a YouTube rabbit hole you got sucked into. And I thought, oh man, I've been sucked into some of that. And that's a good example of augmentation. So I'm super curious. Seems like some folks are saying, I can't see the final results of the poll yet. So we'll give that a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I've used it a lot. Actually, I use one of the most common uses for me is I like to generate images with Midjourney. But what I have learned about myself is that I'm not super descriptive. So I have I'll type something into Midjourney based on what I think I want, and then it thinks something else, and I'm like, that's not what I wanted. What I have found is that if I go ask ChatGPT to generate a Midjourney prompt for the thing I'm wanting, it gives me a much better prompt. It has all kinds of description stuff in there. How should it look? What should the scene be like? And then I take that and put that into Midjourney, and then I get much better
Yo,
results.
dog, I
So
heard you liked AI. So
interest.
you generated a prompt with your AI so you can,
Yeah,
generate an image with your AI.
yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous. But I
Okay,
do agree.
okay. Decent number of people using the AI. 63% said yes often, 28% said rarely, 6% said not yet, and only
I'm not
3% said
allowed.
they're not allowed. That's
Yeah, I
surprising. I
won't
thought more
lie.
people would
I'm a
say they're
rule
not allowed.
breaker. Even as a company, we pay internally for Gemini, and I still find myself sneaking and using ChatGPT probably more on my phone. I am the what is it? The shadow IT, the shadow AI. At least we can admit it, right? That's the first step to correcting
Yep,
yourself.
yep,
Oh
yep,
my
exactly.
gosh.